Welcome everyone, I'm the Hero, and today we're gonna speak about the 3D/2D platformer Sonic Forces. The game was developed by Sonic Team and published by Sega for Xbox One, PS4, Nintendo Switch, and PC in November of 2017. The game follows the titular quick-moving hedgehog and your OC on their quest to save the world from Dr. Eggman once again. I'm gonna delve into spoilers, so if those bother you, skip to the time displayed on the screen right now. I have weird feelings about the story overall. Eggman takes over the world, there's a war going on, the Protects are a rebellion, which is kinda like the Saddam cartoon as far as I know, but it still feels like they jumped the shark with the setup. Which is a weird thing to say, considering the two last Sonic games I've played were Unleashed and Adventure 2, where he blows up the Earth and Moon respectively, yet the most realistic story setup seems the most out of place for some reason. The new antagonist Infinite also kinda just doesn't exist. What I mean by that is that he doesn't really have any character. He is a happening that drives the plot somewhat and causes issues for the protagonist somewhat, but really, when it all boils down, he is just an excuse to have some reality-bending bullshit and close off the previous antagonists, neither of which are actually tied to Infinite and are instead tied to the gem on his chest, which is used even after he is disposed of, albeit not to the extent it was before, to make it seem like he actually had a purpose. The characters that call Sonic or your OC don't really do much or amount to anything. They have cameos. Technically they act as supporting characters even if you don't actually see them do shit aside from standing around for the most part. The only supported character that does anything is Shadow, and even he only does anything remotely supportive is to have a twist where it is revealed he wasn't evil. Actually, it's easier if I show it to you.
Alright, Shadow, what's the deal? Chaos Control! Another Shadow? He just disappeared.
That was a fake.
A fake?
I'll make you eat those words!
And aside from all of these, the game just sort of ends. There's no real closure, and also not much of an ending. The Sonics team up once again, this time with your OC present. You do a couple of phases of the boss, and then it's one last we can show the world boost, and that's it. The boost doesn't really have any weight to it, and the whole ending sequence overall is just kind of limp. To move into the gameplay, depending on the level, you may play as Modern Sonic, Classic Sonic, your OC, or Modern Sonic and your OC at the same time, with the modern characters getting the 3D gameplay that can switch to 2D at times, and Classic Sonic getting strictly 2D. The 3D gameplay feels like trying to steer a stone in the air after you've thrown it, and the 2D gameplay somehow feels even worse. In both, there is this sort of unresponsive weightiness that would make sense at high speeds but is always there, and I say it's worse in the 2D parts because with the 2D parts, they went ahead and added some slower platforming segments that were also present in the older games. Just the fact that you need to slow down a bit on these platforming segments isn't an issue, but because of how heavy the characters can feel and how momentum seems to work in this game, it's not hard to under or overshoot platforms before you get used to it. There's also a distinction to be made between Modern Sonic and your OC's gameplay, as Modern Sonic handles more or less the same as he did in Unleashed, although probably tweaked to not be as garbage. Meanwhile, your OC takes a bit longer to get up to speed and doesn't have a boost. This leads us to their unique mechanic, the weapon system, called Wispons, because Sonic colors and generations were good, so we shall now remind you of them every chance we get, even if their inclusion doesn't make a lot of sense. These gadgets allow you to attack multiple enemies at once, as well as give you an additional form of movement once you've picked up your weapon's wisps, such as teleportation and doing that thing following that Sonic did in Adventure. When Sonic and your OC are working together, you get what 3D gameplay should have been, but was split into parts instead. Also, boost. Since one of the three main characters that are actually two is your OC, this game has a character creator, which could have been deeper, I'm not gonna lie. There's not a whole lot to set you apart from other created characters, which I understand is kind of keeping in line with how Sonic characters are designed, but we still could have used some different body types and some additional body customization features. Because what if being spaghetti just doesn't suit the character I'm trying to make? But to make up for the character creation being on the shallower side, they have a large amount of clothing items you can equip, all of which needs to be unlocked first by clearing stages and completing missions. And you also need to unlock them in different colors separately, because how will we put out the reward pool if we don't have recolors? Moving on with the missions, there's two types, challenge and daily. Neither are too challenging for the most part. Challenges are missions that you can do whenever and get rewarded for immediately. Daily missions are missions that give you an experience booster a day, and you can do them up to 2 days in advance. Now, to move on to the levels, there is variety for the most part, but none of the levels are particularly memorable. And when they are, it is for the wrong reasons. When I saw that Chemical Plant Zone was in this game, I let out an audible groan because it's my least favorite Sonic level. Little did I know that they'd make a worse level in the form of Aqua Road, the worst water level I have ever played. And as for the bosses, none of them are memorable either. Hell, Battle Sonic's boss fight is later used for Infinite, and I couldn't tell them apart so much that I honestly thought that they just threw the same fight at you again. Which really is what they're doing, but it made me think that Metal Sonic did even less in the freaking game than he actually did. The game also has bonus stages, which are more of the same but a bit harder, and also stages can seemingly randomly become SOS stages, in which you control someone else's OC, and if you beat it well enough, you save them or something, I don't know. To move on to sounds and graphics, the game looks fine, though sometimes I do feel like good looking reflections and shaders and stuff are kind of wasted on things like Sonic, because Sonic should look cartoony, and the characters a lot of times end up looking like they don't belong because of this. I also want to point out the aesthetics of the UI and the menus, which I adore. It is just a straight rip of Persona 5 style, yes, but sometimes that's all you need to have a good looking UI and menu system. As for sounds, the voice acting and ambient sounds are fine, save for Silver who can get a bit shaky.
This wasn't part of my agenda, but I'm always happy to crush a hero. It keeps the rabble in line, shows them that there is no hope.
Does anyone but you believe your lies? It's no use!
And as for the soundtrack, well, it's really up to personal taste. I like this sort of music, so I think the soundtrack is good, but if you don't, well, then you'll think it sucks because it's basically just this and only this. So overall, Sonic Forces has a ton of issues in most departments you can think of, and the public reception of the unanimous yeah, no was fair. But I still enjoyed playing the game. Maybe it's just because by now I've accepted that Sonic is a series that can be best described as high-speed jank, or maybe it's because I legitimately had no expectations for this game. But this was probably the most fun I've had with a 3D Sonic game, and it's also quite short at 3.5 hours depending on whether you count the 30-minute unskippable credits as part of the game. Definitely not worth the initial asking price of $60 or even $30, but if you can get it for cheap and are alright with occasionally yelling at the TV screen because you fell through the grind rail again for the 5th time in a row, you can still have some fun. I hope you enjoyed this video, and with that, goodbye.